What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ranch. All right, ranchers, it is the first weekend here in June in western, southern, upstate New York, sideways New York, Catskill region, New York, and that's where freaking Clover is. And I thank you for tuning in again. And that means if it is that time of year, we are now going to terminate rye and turn this food plot into a summer food plot or a summer cover crop kind of for the summer, to keep the weeds suppressed, to keep something growing for the deer. And I've done this every year since I've been here, slightly different, slightly better, I believe, with better results. Last year and previous years, I've come in and crushed this rye, which we're going to do again in some manner, which I'll get to in a second. And usually I seed and crush and then spray and kill everything. But this year we're gonna do it differently. My rye came in perfect. My rye is at that seedy stage which we want. Here, let me zoom in and show you this. Woo! That rye has done what it's supposed to do all summer. Look at all that. That's great, man. So now when we crush, crimp, cut, what are we ever gonna do, which I'm gonna tell you in a second, this won't come back and grow. This helps suppress the weeds. This helped give some tall height and cover. I have a lot of animals coming through here, doe, turkey, fox, groundhogs, all sorts of stuff that come through here, bear once in a while, and it is now time to roll this over. So we're doing no-till, and because we're doing no-till, we're not going to till up the ground. We're not going to disturb all the weed seeds that are in here. So the idea is to seed and kill and control your weeds so the weeds die down. But over the last few seasons, I've seeded a bunch of clover and a bunch of chicory and a bunch of vetch and some things that generally will come back. They're not annuals, they're perennials, meaning they'll come back. And I don't want to come in this year and do that part of this no-till process. I think I have enough clover and things around, although I am seeing some grasses, but I'm seeing a lot of, gone to seed crimson clover. I'll show you that. So this is that crimson clover. This is an annual. It's not supposed to come back. You're supposed to terminate it. It grows really fast. It grows faster and sooner than your basic perennial clover, which lets the deer feed on this, lets the ground get covered before the weeds come up, and really just give something to eat, something to help them with weed control until everything else that you want to green up, like your regular clover and your rye, starts taking off for the season. And this came in wonderful. I just frost seeded, broadcasted this basically at the end of April here, right when I thought there was almost no frost left. And then it will come to a seed and it will look like this. So this dropped all its seeds. So a lot of people are like, oh no, it's going to come back. Yeah, for farming that might be a bad thing, but for us here at the ranch, this coming back like this next year, not such a bad deal. I mean, the deer are going to eat it, they're going to love it. So again, this is something that's going to come back. I may not want to terminate this. It's looking like the weeds are fairly controlled. So what are we going to do this year? This is a long way to get to this part, I guess, but we're going to come in and we're just going to seed into this and we're going to weed whack this very shallow. That very shallowness should help the clover come back thicker. It should throw all this on top of the seed. See, that didn't even stand back up. It's so ready to be crimped and cut. Throw that all on top of the seed as a blanket of manure. Green manure, as it's sometimes called, or cover crop kind of a thing. And we're gonna do that this year, no spray. And I'm gonna see what comes in that way. Years past, or last year I should say, I did straight green cover seed by Green Cover, the summer release. This year I'm doing the summer release again, mixed with a bunch of buckwheat. I can't just do straight buckwheat like some of these guys say. My deer take this little small micro parcel plot system that I have and they decimate it. There's just too much here, too much deer presence to do the buckwheat no-till thing, which is why I moved to the summer release situation. That really allowed me to grow some stuff that deer don't eat right away. They let it grow and then they moved to it. And I mean, they even ate the sorghum that they weren't supposed to eat. I never got heads or never got sunflowers. So, I mean, the pressure's on here, which is why I need to keep this covered with something they can eat, like all this clover, like that can handle all this pressure. And that's why I'm not going to spray and knock this back and kill it. Now, if you still wanted to go ahead and spray, which is what I did in the past, clover's a little resilient to that glyphosate spraying in the no-till process. It stunts it, it holds it back, and as long as you don't go immediately into 97-degree summer with no rain, it will come back. It will hang in there. So let's dive in. Let's get some seed on the ground, and then we're gonna come in and I'm just gonna weed whack this in there. Now, I know usually you want a uniform, crimp over and cover, but I really don't have such thick rye. I mean, it probably looks really thick in the camera, but it's not gonna make that, you know, wonderful mat that you're really looking for, say if I planted on a flat level and drilled it in, you know, and now I come back with that traditional roll crimper on a tractor. I can't do that. This is all uneven. I can't even practically drive a quad back and forth in here because it's potential to roll. So, I mean, it's really uneven terrain in here, and one day I hope to fix that, but that's yet another story. So let's jump in. Let's get some seed on the ground, and then we're gonna cut this down. All right, guys, if you haven't seen how I've done this in the past, I've been filming for a little while now, and I can include links to the Foodplot playlist that has, you know, me crushing it with my quad, me crushing it with a roller, me crushing it with a foot crimper. I mean, I've done it all sorts of different ways, and this year I'm going back to more of a basic, just weed whack it, make a mess on top of the seed, let that die down and hold moisture against the seed. I'm not going to spray and kill. This is a first for me on that. I've always sprayed and killed a weed control. This might be a bad thing for me, but we're gonna find out. This is a learning process. I am by no means a professional. I am just a super enthusiast out here in the woods, trying to get some deer and buck to roam through my property, get this attraction point going for them. And that's kind of what I got. I mean, I came in today and the bedding area I cut in just above this, in between my stand, kicked the deer out. It was awesome. As soon as I pulled in, and she wasn't even scared because the bedding area is nice and thick. She just moseyed. She was like, all right, time to get out of the bed, move up. She's in for a rude awakening because I know she went to the next bedding area, and I'm headed to the connecting food plot after this one to shoot another video. All right, guys, thanks for sticking in. Let's get to seeding. All right, before I get in there, I just want to walk through and show you. Look at how nice this is. Look at all the clover. Look at, there's some vetch flower right there. I mean, there's a lot in here. All the crimson clover has seeded out. And yeah, there's a little bit of weed in here. Here's some weed right here. Here's might be a little bit of grasses too, but that's okay. We're gonna cut this down. We're really gonna let this bounce back. But for the most part, walking through here, it looks good. It's heavy in clover, and I don't wanna terminate that. There's a piece of chicory. There's some more vetch. I mean, this is looking nice. And the deer are in here, so I don't need to cater to them much more than this. All these purple flowers are the hairy vetch. It's really, really something that last summer I got planted in here. I mean, this one is like waist high. And let me see if I show you. See that right there at the top? That's why it's called hairy vetch. Let's see if I get that to zoom. No, it's not going to do it. So that's why they call it hairy vetch. It grows this little hair that climbs up this rye, and this is standing waist height on me. Look at that. That's beautiful. And not to mention over here, same thing. Hairy vetch. It'll climb up kind of almost like a cucumber and make this flower and tie around the rye and get tall. The beautiful purple flowers. I love some vetch. All right, let's seed into this, guys. We're just going to broadcast this. I'm crushing down some of the rye as I walk, but that makes rye kind of nice because you can see where you travel. This green cover summer release seed has all sorts of good stuff in it. We have sorghum, sunflowers, buckwheat, cowpeas. I have my seeder open pretty wide. These are all fairly larger seeds that need to get some good seed to soil contact. So I'm really making sure this dumps out and gets covered on the ground. Because I'm broadcasting and not drilling, I'm using a ton more seed than they recommend. Don't be afraid to put it on thick if you're broadcasting like me. When you seed into standing vegetation like this, seed to soil contact is very important, and I see plenty of ground to get this seed on. And that's why we seed first and cut second. Again, these are big seeds. If you could drill this, that would be better. But I'm putting it on real thick. I think in the sun now, you could really just see me shooting those seeds everywhere. And that's fine with me. Wow, there's a really nice chicory leaf right here. All right, ranchers, the seed's down. We got a boatload, or pounds per acre, ton on this plot. The last thing we're gonna do is come through and weed whack this down and make a green mulch right on top of this. And then I'll probably drive my ATV kind of randomly through here a bunch as like a cultipacker to push the seed even further into the ground. All right, guys, let's go. It's plotting day. One quick thing while I'm in here mowing. When I say I cut down this clover, I'm not cutting it right to the ground, hard cut. I'm cutting it just to pull off the white flowers, the seed heads. And that stimulates the clover to start growing again. It makes more clover heads, more flat leaf heads. Because when it comes to the flower point, that means it's done growing. So we want to cut that off, and that's what stimulates the growth and vigor back into the clover. So that's about the height I'm going as I'm weed whacking through. I'm just clipping off the white flowers and everything else can remain. Pretty much done. All right, sun's out, starting to sweat. Just gonna drive over this a little bit with my quad and push some of those seeds into the ground. But it's looking really nice. We got that rye covering now. Like I said, it's not so thick where I'm worried about it choking out what was here. Like if you weed whacked in a really better stand of rye. Yes, I did say better than mine, but again, I am no professional. And we're gonna use our quad to push that down into the ground. The seed, I mean, push that into the ground, and that'll be it for today. All right, guys, this is one of those crazy shots you see done. Food plot behind me. Let's just drive over it real quick, and we're calling this Summer Release Planted 2024. All right, guys, thanks for watching.